My Campaign for Liberty questions, that was a great question. I don't think I have, I don't know if there was one on here for Patriot Act. I thought there was, but will you oppose big labor's card check bill and any other legislation designed to empower union bosses?
Yes.
Yes, and you answered yes, and people get confused on that one because I used to think unions were good, and I still think they are in some. They have a purpose. They just, like government, abused it.
Right. Right. Well, I think their purpose would be to negotiate for their workers, but it kind of bothers me when they get into the political sphere.
Right. They should not be in Washington.
They shouldn't be in the political sphere. They should just be bargaining for their workers.
But against the company.
Right.
And that's the end of story. Right.
That's it. That's what their purpose was. And of course, you have to concern yourself with protecting the workers and stuff like that. But to actually endorse political parties, political candidates, they don't really have the authority to
and you know my biggest pet peeve on
use the money,
that do
use the money collected by the people that they have in their union to endorse a particular candidate or send him money. To me, that's crossing a line that shouldn't be crossed.
It has nothing to do. They should not be allowed. I agree, because newspapers do that. I just saw newspapers. Newspapers are supposed to be.
If they want to have a representative go and speak to their representative, you know, have a union representative go speak to a representative about problems they're having in the workplace, that's fine.
And find out what the laws are and where they stand and maybe laws that are being introduced, fine. But for them to lobby,
and then they can tell their union members who is, you know, what their stand was, that kind of thing. That's fine too. You know, if they went and talked to them and they said, well, here's how they stand on this, well, that's fine, let them know. But to actually contribute to a campaign, that's plain. That's
right,
like dirty politics.
Campaign for Liberty, we don't endorse candidates, but we do this. We do a survey so we can find out, and then you could look through and say, okay, this is what I agree with. And yeah, that's exactly right, to inform and educate, but not.
The unions have a purpose. They have a good purpose.
Right.
Before the unions,
wages.
there were bad things going on. So they do serve a good purpose, but not in the political scheme. That's over the line for me.
Awesome. 8, you did not answer on our, so if anybody goes there, they'll see that, so we'll get your answer now. Do you support U.S. withdrawal from the United Nations?
I would. I don't like us being, giving our troops or loading our troops to some other governing body that somehow is supposed to, you know.
You hesitated. Is there any reason why we should stay in?
No, I can't think of any.
Okay. Just wanted to
I just want to explain why. That's probably why I didn't. I just want to explain why. It's because I don't think we should be giving them the right to our troops. That's just too much.
Right. It should be in our national security.
And they don't seem to be. I mean, they seem to be against us anyway. Why are we funding them? They work against us almost every way they can.
And it's all our troops, so we might as well just do it ourselves anyway.
Us funding to work against us, and it makes no sense. So no, I wouldn't want to stay with the UN. Not a good body anymore. No,
it was like unions too. The ideal is good, but they got too big for their britches.
In practice, it's not working so well.
We are live, Stupid Politics, on Tuesday, April 27th. Greg Dickman, who is running for 3rd Congressional Congress, is my guest. If you have any questions, please give us a call. Voting day is around the corner next Tuesday. Make sure you vote no matter what. Okay, number 9, will you support the American Sovereignty Act to restrict the executive's ability to forge international agreements that lessen our sovereignty? Basically, Obama and then the president, who in the Constitution, you know, they don't have the authority for treaties, but our presidents have been going around and deciding who our friends and enemies are. It said, would you support the American Sovereignty Act to restrict this ability? And you said yes. Okay, I just want to make sure we're all still.
I don't want the president making the decision for us.
No, that's what
one person. We're supposed to be represented by a body, a group of people.
Right, 535, I think, altogether. Right, and that also allows not one person, because anytime you make one decision as a person, you may not make it right. But when you go back and say, hey, what do you think of this? You may give me feedback that lets me decide that that wasn't the best decision. So it should never, I think what our Constitution was founded on, that one person would never have ultimate authority.
It's the will of the people
that
you're trying to fulfill.
Number 10, will you oppose using U.S. forces to occupy a foreign nation without a declaration of war? You answered yes.
Yeah, I don't think without a declaration of war, actually, without a declaration of war, as I understand it, our troops don't get the benefits the same as if they've been injured in a war. It actually reduces their benefits. It actually reduces...
But you know why they do it? Because it allows them to get around other things that they don't have to do. Because if they don't officially declare, they don't have to follow all the rules.
Follow all the rules. They just have to keep funding it.
Right, right.
Like the Iraq War is not really a war. It's now a police action.
Correct.
And it wasn't really declared a war to begin with.
Right, because we were supposed to be going after Osama bin Laden. We made a side trip for Saddam, and now we're going back to Afghanistan. So everybody's a little confused. And if they would have declared war, we would have had a clear mission. So
yeah, they didn't have the mission. I mean, I'd like to keep the fight over there if we're going to have a fight.
To finish it?
Yeah, well, yeah, we're going to have a fight. I just soon as stay here. I don't want to get them on our shores. But they didn't have a plan to get out. They didn't, I don't know of a good solution over there. The best we can do at this point is train the people that are there the best we can.
And then start pulling out.
And then pull out. That's the best we can do at this point.
Because we discussed a little bit off the air, and basically the people of Afghanistan are going to eventually have to fight for themselves in Iraq. And
we cannot support them forever.
And we can, like we've been doing in the other countries, but we're going broke because of it. So
I suppose we could start sending them some of the bill, see how long they really want us to stay after we start sending them some of the bill.
You know what? I'd be good with sending a lot of countries the bill. I bet they'd all tell us to go home, which might not be a bad thing either.
Yeah. Then let us,
here's your bill for taking care of it.
Yeah.
You know what? And then that might actually be a good thing. I like that idea, because then we get something back for policing the world. It fund itself, hopefully, and then I bet countries would finally step up to the plate because, but yeah, a lot of countries right now are getting free service.
It's free service. Why fight it?
Yeah, I mean, if I have free security around my house all the time and said, hey, you don't need an alarm system, you don't need this, you don't even need to fight for your own home, we're going to stand around your house for free.
Right.
All right.
I mean, that makes sense to me.
You know, I like that. I might get, you get to Congress. We're going to have to work on that one. That one's a good one. We're going to start charging for our troops.
Well, then they're going to say, well, then they went over for oil. But it's, no. So we didn't have to have the battle here. But
I think it was a little bit, I think our troops are there for the right reasons and they feel it. I think government has a little more than altruistic. You know, they're not in it always for the good. I think they make political decisions that we sometimes, you know, maybe for the good, but I don't think their goal is always the ultimate good, which is what sometimes gets us in trouble. If it was always for the good and they just make mistakes, I think most Americans could live with that. But the problem is they lie, and the nice thing is that you're running is you've never been in political office. A lot of people want that right now. I think there are some people. I'm a Ron Paul supporter. I think Ron Paul should stay. We need him there.
He serves a vital purpose.
Yes.
Because he makes a lot of valid points.
And he fights for the Constitution. Whether you agree or disagree with him, his point is...
He's always got a fresh, unique idea, thought, approach. Right,
and he has no problem with amending the Constitution, and then just don't cheat on it. You know, don't just say, oh, we're not going to use it no more, like the health care bill.
It's the fundamental law of the nation.
Right, use it. And if you can't find it, at least take it the right way and amend it. You know, do something, and if the people want it, it'll go in. And he's a big proponent. So I think there's a few politicians we need to keep, but for the most part, I say get rid of them all. I think Souter's been there 16 years.
16 years.
As you said,
and he's been in there a long time. At this point, I don't see him fixing the government, okay? And what I want to do is actually go fix the problems. That's the provisional redacted voting. It fixes the corruption. And like I say, I sent it to him years ago. Nothing. You know, he didn't ever take up the idea, but he could have been working.
Hey, they don't ever answer our letters, so.
I actually have a plan, okay?